All right, it's 7 o'clock, so I'm just gonna get started. It's 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Didn't have it on Sunday, got a little busy. You know how it goes. So for this week, what I thought I'd do is go over a couple of ETFs that, not a couple, but actually quite a few ETFs, um, and kind of the reasoning behind what we're seeing in the market right now and maybe what to look for when the market decides that it wants to reverse. So I was listening to a popular um, show. It's a basically kind of stock trading show, and they were mentioning to take a look at UUP, and this is an ETF that tracks U.S. dollars, and it's like the Deutsche Bank. It's their rating of the US dollar versus other countries. And as you can see, this thing's been going up like crazy and been going sideways. And we started to get in a downtrend. And if you actually, if we at, so just looking at this right here, there are other sectors that they play into whatever the dollar value is. They mirror this. So, for example, if we look at the chart for gold, just real quick, let's go over and look at the Market Smith, the top indice groups right now. And at the top of the group is gold, metal, steel. That's the top three. So if we take a look at an ETF that tracks gold, which is the GLV, so this tracks the price of gold, and then with another one is so this one does silver. But if we add the VIX on top of this, I'm sorry, add the UUP on top of this, and what I'm going to do is just overlay it up here. You can see that these pretty much mirror each other. When this one's going up, this one's going down, and vice versa. And if we look, quite a few of these are like this. So another one is the gold mining, and that one is GDX. So let me actually go over here to my ETFs here. And we'll do the same thing with this. We'll add that. And kind of the same thing with this. So starting now, because I want to get an overview of the market, if you will. I want to be able to assess, even if it's a day trade that I want to get into, assess where the market is, what the hot stocks are, what industry groups are not doing very well right now. So when a stock, that's junk, starts going, high flying in the morning, I can know that that stock is probably not going to keep going. It's a piece of crap. It's gonna reverse soon. So that's kind of the theory in this, is to get an overall picture of the market for swing trading, investments, things of that nature, but also let it kind of move into other parts of trading. The next one that we'll look at just real quick is metal, and it's the same thing. It's when this thing is going down, this is going up, and vice versa. So, and these are security stocks. So if we take a look at the VIX real quick, and we'll get rid of this real quick here, the UUP. And the way to read this is that it's kind of on a scale between like 0 to 30, if you will. So anything below 20, and what that usually indicates is like it's a calm market, and anything above 30, there's fear in the market. So, but normally when it gets down to this, anytime it gets down below 20, people are always looking for that bounce. So as of right now, because all those security stocks are the ones that are being traded the most, that's where essentially that people are putting their money in safe bets, if you will. People aren't going out and just throwing their money into crazy biotechs right now. But real soon, hopefully, something turns. And my guess is that it'll be some type of a major event, something, some sector will start to lead, the volatility, if you will, out of these lower levels, and maybe, bring back the way that it was 3 months, 6 months ago, a year ago, where almost every single day there was a high flyer or something, with a lot of volatility. So what I normally like to do with these meetings is just to first go over MarketSmith, just to show everyone that doesn't use MarketSmith what the top industry groups are. And right now, number 1 is gold, number 2 is metal, 3 is silver, office supplies, and food. And this is about what it looked like last week. Only some of the utilities were up here at like 2 and 3. So, and for those who don't use MarketSmith, you can actually use stockcharts.com. Let me bring it up here. All right, so if you go to stockcharts.com, you can click right here on the sector summary, and that kind of shows you the same thing: utilities, consumer, technology. The list is a little bit different between the two, but I mean, in most cases, it's the same sectors in like the top 10. And for those who don't really know a lot about the VIX, and I'm a person that really doesn't know a whole bunch myself, so I started looking around tonight just to see, what the true meaning of it was, why is it used, or why do investors use it? And there's a really good summary of what it is on the, here it is, the Investimonials page. All right, so I'm going to drag this over here, and I hope I don't get in trouble for showing this, but I recommend everybody check this out right here. Hopefully it'll play.
The Chicago Board Options Exchange, CBOE Volatility Index, has the ticker symbol VIX. The VIX shows the market's volatility expectations for the next 30 days. To do this, the VIX tracks a wide range of index options from the S&P 500, looking at both put and call options. The VIX has become the most used method of measuring expected volatility. The VIX was created in 1993 and was originally based on an implied volatility of 8 put and call options from the S&P 100. Later, it was expanded to include more put and call options from the S&P 500. This gives it a more accurate view of the market's volatility expectations. Investors like to know the market's expected volatility because it helps them make better investment decisions. Volatility is a measure of how quickly or slowly prices change. When market prices are not changing very quickly, volatility is said to be low. When they change rapidly, volatility is high. Investors watch the VIX for extreme volatility because it is generally believed that when the market hits these extremes, it reverses course. A VIX value below 20 is an indication of calm market expectations, while a VIX value above 30 is a sign of high uncertainty and fear in the markets.
And I hear Jim Cramer talking about this all the time. And as you can see, for the last couple months, it's just been going down. And I don't know exactly when the Fed came out that last time and was like, we're going to raise it by like 0.25% or something like that. But I think that was about the time where it started going down, and it's just been going down pretty much ever since. So I recently heard that the way it's supposed to work is that the Fed looks at Main Street and Wall Street to kind of determine where to set the interest levels. But in reality, what they're looking at is the stock market. And if we look at the SPY, it looks like, and we'll pull this one back also so we can see January. And, right about that time, I think it was January or so when because I think they come out every quarter or so to have these announcements about if they're going to lower or raise the rates. So I think it went down and it's going back up, but I just don't know. It's on its way back up, but there's just not a lot of volatility in the market right now. There's not a lot of severe price moves. There's just not a lot going on, and that's what's kind of got me on the sidelines right now and got me more looking towards swing trades. So just even knowing that this exists right here is good, just to add this to your watch, if you will, to see how it's doing each day. Pop it open. If we're above the 20 levels, that usually means that you know you're gonna see some volatility in the market. And until it reaches or gets near that 20, I mean, I'm gonna kind of stay on the sidelines when it comes to the day trading and try to shift more of my focus towards the swing trades. So what I'm gonna do now is if anyone's got a mic and would like to talk, I mean, feel free to. I'm gonna unmute Sean here. If he wants, if you got a mic and you want to talk, just say something. Or if you want to take over or add something or whatever the case is, just hop right in. So I'm gonna pull up my FinViz account real quick, and we're just gonna see if we can find some stocks that are worth watching. And what I'm gonna do is just get rid of all these. And there we go, unflag. And I only have a couple of scanners right now in FinViz, so it's not going to take long to go through this. And we'll just take a look at the CanSlim real quick to see if there's anything in here that would be worthwhile. Because this scan is really, it's good for bringing up these real high dollar stocks, and that's usually the way it is. Stocks that have good fundamentals, they're the ones that, they're expensive. So just looking at something in my price range, just trying to stay like, $50 and under. And it looks like this one right here is doing pretty good. So what I then do is once my dog's going crazy. Once I see this and look at the chart here, it looks like there's some kind of a trend line, support there, or actually it's trend line resistance that I might be trying to break through. So then what I'll do is I'll go over to MarketSmith and I'll just take a look at this just to see what the fundamentals are and what the estimates are for the upcoming years. And it doesn't really look like 2015, they were up a little bit. 2016, their estimates are supposed to go down a little bit. So normally when there's not really a lot going on for future estimates, I'm not really expecting to see a big price move, anything I would really be interested in getting involved with. So just coming down here now and looking to see, it looks like they did a 38, 23, 17. See, they're all over the place. The good companies I've always found, they're like 30, 31, 30, 31. They're consistent quarter to quarter. These guys are kind of all over the place. They have an RS rating of 81, but that's because they're in a strong RS group right now. And that's a good place to start, that RS rating. But I like to look at some other things before I get bullish or bearish or even care about a stock. And honestly, I'm not too excited about this one. So looking at the number of funds that own it, it looks like the number of funds have actually went down. So I mean, it's owned by 52% of the shares are owned by funds, which is kind of good. But if this thing turns south, all those guys are going to want out at the same time, and this thing's going to drop like crazy. So I'm not going to be too interested in that one. So we'll go back to the screener. I didn't, those other ones that are, $100 a share, so I'm not even going to look at those. So the next one, we'll look at the safe swing scan, and just looking to see if there's anything that's about to, bounce off support, resistance, anything setting up on the chart. And then if I find anything that looks interesting, I'll just take it over to MarketSmith and look at the financials on it to see if it's worth my time. I also like to go and check the NASDAQ website for the earnings to see if they've got earnings that are coming up, if they just posted earnings. And sometimes on that NASDAQ website it'll actually say the upcoming earnings are expected to be this amount, and you can actually, based on that, you might be able to add that as another bullish or bearish signal to if you're gonna go in on that trade or not. And I mean, I don't really see anything here that looks all that great. I mean, this one right here, I've seen this traded before, so had a nice little run right here. And that's one of the things you want to look for is range. And I mean, this thing's got some range. And just to bring it over and take a quick look at it here. And it's got an 86, and let me see what that what is that based on. They're in a good group, so that automatically kind of raises that RS rating, the overall rating. And just looking at their estimates are for year to year, they're just all over the place. And it's like, okay, because when I see that, I'm looking for consistency. I want to see the company either making a little bit more or staying the same. So not going to be interested in that one either. That one looks like it's just more of a reaction to news or something that happened on that particular day. So let's see here. So we'll go through real quick some TC2000 scans, and the ones that I really enjoy looking at are these candlesticks, just to see if anything fell in these traps here. And I'll pull this over here, and this is the 3 white soldiers. And 1, 2, 3, 3 big candles. And I'm going to look at my chart here and see if, because see these whenever you find these, run across these scans, and you input them in to TC2000, you don't really know if they're actually going to work or not. But I mean, that one right there looks like a pretty good stock. It's going up. I'd have to check the news on that one, because the news might be pushing that one up. Yeah, because looking at the financials, looking over here, I don't see anything. I mean, they're going to be losing less money this year, so that's a good sign, I suppose. But I don't know if it's the fundamentals are deserving of that type of a move. And just going to look at a couple more here. And usually with this hammer scan, it's just looking for hammers that may appear in a downtrend. And what I like to do is here we go. Like to see which one of these changed the most throughout the day. And I also like to just look through to see which one had the most volume. And remember, with a hammer, you have to find it in a downtrend. It has to be sitting at the bottom of a downtrend and has to look just like a hammer. Something like this right here. So it's in a downtrend and then it puts in a hammer, but that's not a real hammer, because with that right there, it's it's not a true hammer. It has to be full up here at the top. We'll pull this back here. And so if I don't find anything that way, I'll change it to sort by volume to see which one moved, because if there's a hammer at the bottom, of a downtrend on it, and it's got a lot of volume, it might have a lot of volume tomorrow too, and it may be ready to reverse. Now I don't really see anything there, so I'm gonna go to my favorite scan, which is the overextended. And I like to say that the way it works is that with these overextended, these overbought, it's like, first thought is oh man, that thing is crazy overextended. This is a perfect example. Okay, so this thing went from, what is this, like $1.70, and this thing jumped up to $8 in a day, and you're thinking to yourself, that's it. This thing's well above the Bollinger Bands. This thing is hella extended. This thing is done for, and you're like, okay, I'm going to short this thing, and then, okay, your short didn't work, and then the next thing you know, it gaps up to 12, and again, it goes back to the first thing that you got to do is, sure, it's cool to look at the chart, but you gotta make sure you look at this right here. And they have an RS rating of a 99 right now. And just looking through here, it looks like their estimates don't look all that great, but there's got to be something that's propelling this up. So, for this one right here, it's got to be news. We'll look at the weekly here. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go back. I forgot to look at something here. Okay, minus 14, minus 15, minus 15, minus 13. All right, so it's not their fundamentals. I mean, even though they have an RS 99, it's not that. It's got to be something else. So again, you can't get too bullish or bearish on this. because you get too, bearish and you're like, oh, this thing's got to come down. I'm going to bet the farm on this, and you get killed, man. So same thing with this. So when I see these overbought, I start to say, okay, the reason why they're up is because they're good stocks. So let me try to find out some more information about these stocks because they could continue to go higher. And with this one, it did. So next one on the list here, kind of the same theory with this is, it shot up and it's right here at this 200-day moving average, and this thing can continue to go higher. And see, these are the ones that when it's up like this, and I'm really not seeing, this right here actually might be something, because if it can continue past this, we might be in a, this might be a turnaround and we'll be in a bullish trend on this one. So I try to stay away from those, real big gap ups, because you really never know what they're going to do, and everybody in your mama's like they're going to try to short it. That's all everyone is thinking about. But if it's a good stock, it's going to keep going up. And same thing on this scan here. It's got a few different parameters. It's looking for stocks that might be about to bounce, and something like this right here. Yeah, it already fell through that support, so this thing is toast. And this company actually sucks, dude. I know for sure this company sucks. And the reason why is I work in IT, and I'm tasked with, when someone comes to me and they're like, hey, we're gonna, do like a voice over IP system or something like that. And every single time that I had to call here, the people that answer the phone were not in this country. And if usually they're not in this country, then that means that they're a smaller organization. They're really not as big as what people might think that they are. So, and just looking to see if any of these look like they're about to bounce off of some level of support. So this one right here might bounce, and that's a good reason to run these oversold and overbought scans, is to find stuff like this. So the next one is the volume advancing scan, and with this one, I'm going to switch this here. So this is stocks that have unusually high volume. And again, this goes back to the same theory. The reason why they have unusually high volume could be because they're a good stock. There's something that's driving that. And for anyone that uses TC2000, that's what I'm looking for. That's what the scan is comprised of. And if you guys ever have a question about one of the scans I use, just hit me up in chat. I'll be glad to tell you about it. Because again, it's no gurus. It's just some dudes who trade stocks. That's all it's about. And let's see here. I don't really want to look at penny stocks. We'll look at this one here to see if there's anything that might be ready to go short on. And see, that broke through support, but if that one doesn't hold on tomorrow, that one could go down. The only thing is it didn't have a lot of volume. So let's switch here to see who had the volume today. Yeah, that one had a lot of volume today. 7 million shares traded. It might be bouncing right there. So I'm going to actually add that one to watch. And I mean, I'm kind of scared of this, because normally with these biotechs, when they go up like this, like, normally the next day it's like, unless you know a lot about that company, with a biotech, I wouldn't even, like, I'm not even going to touch this, because my first thought looking at this is it's going to go down. But I mean, it could go up for, a couple more days before it starts going down. And this one's kind of putting in a little bit of a flag right here. It's a ghetto flag, but it's something. But you need something to confirm to you that it's going to go up, because this thing looks like it's toast. And I think I've traded this one before. Yeah, this one's toast. It goes down. When these stocks are going down like this, it's like, they're probably just going to keep going down. And that's back to that same one. And then we'll check, the last thing we'll check is my cup and handle scan to see if anything popped up. And I need to write a blog article on this one because this one's actually pretty cool. It looks for the length and the depth of the cup, which is pretty cool if it actually can find one. So we'll actually start here with this. And we'll go back. I think it only looks back like 6 months or something like that. So let's see. Just for the heck of it, we'll take it back even further here. And like for instance, this right here would be a cup and handle, I guess. So, I mean, with TC2000, you know, whenever you start doing scans like this, you got to know that, you know, the likelihood of you finding, you know, finding a bunch of false negatives is going to be really, really high. And see, that's a cup right there, and you know, it's a split, so that automatically tells you can't even look at it, because that doesn't, to me, that doesn't even count. It's got to be a true cup. You know, it's got to have that true. And all I'm looking at here is this area right over here to see if I see a cup in there, and then that's it. If I don't see a real well-defined cup, I'm just going next. I mean, it's crazy. It's like that stock and that stock look almost identical. And see, there's a nice little cup right here, but it looks like it already had its move, and it tried and just couldn't do it, so it failed. And real quick, the last thing we'll go through here for the TC2000 scan is just the volatility. And these were the top runners of the day. And what we'll do is we'll. So this one went up about 36% today before coming back down. And if we look at the daily chart on this one, so went up a little bit, and just look at that. I mean, that's just crazy, man. That and it had no volume essentially, 300,000 shares. It sucks. I mean, that's what I was talking about with the volatility. It's just like, I don't know, man. I got this theory. You know, it's a lot of like these gurus brought a lot of people into the market, man, and they were just throwing money around willy-nilly. And now I think those days have kind of come to an end, and that's the reason why we're not seeing this volatility. That's just my personal opinion. You know, that's, you know, and again, I've only been doing this for, you know, a little over a year, so don't take what I say is it's worth anything, but that's just my opinion. And or it could be something to do with that Fed. So, and see, even this, man, it's like no volume, like no volume at all. So let's see, you know, that's not much, man. So let me actually change this here real quick to $25. And we'll see if that changes anything. No, we just had this, and this is the one that everybody's watching right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't even watch it because of that. So, all right, so that's it for me. We did 30 minutes. Sorry we didn't do a full hour. I wish that Tackleberry would have stopped by tonight, but I understand it's, you know, busy schedules. I know my schedule last Sunday was crazy, and it'll be the same thing this weekend. So I don't know if we'll get to the Sunday chat. I want to, but I just don't know if we will or not. So anyone have any questions, just type them into, actually, here's a stock right here, ATSG. And I'll just look at we'll pull up the daily on this. And it looks like, let me flag it actually. So we'll bring it over to here and see some more details about it. So with this one, you know, 300,000 shares, that's okay. I mean, but as you can see, man, it's like some parts of the day you probably be, you know, real hard pressed to get in or out of that stock, and that would suck. And if we look at the fundamentals for that, let me see if I can bring that back over here. And that was ATSG. And it looks like with this stock right here, first thing we'll look at is the RS is a 98. We'll come down here, 14, 16, 10, 21. That's pretty good. You know, that's kind of what you're looking for is quarter to quarter, is it getting better? And then year to year, is it getting better? And 66, 65, 51, 56. So just going down the list, it looks like for the next few years, it will continue to get better. And then looking at the industry, that's a B, as long as it's not like, well, see, it's a transport, so this one actually relies on the oil industry in order to, you know, to be up or down in some cases. So, you know, it looks like it actually looks like it's a pretty good stock. So if we look at the weekly here, we can actually see that there's 55% of the stock is owned by funds. I mean, that's pretty good. And then it looks like the number of funds is going up, so that's good as well. So, and you know, with a PE ratio of 24, that means that they're making money, and you know, and 24 is you know, not too shabby. That's actually pretty good. So I would say this would be a good stock. Now I can't say, I'm not going to get too bullish or bearish on anything, but you know, it all depends on you know, other news and other things that kind of, you know, support that. I know that Amazon hasn't been doing very well lately. Let me see here if I can bring up the whoops, let me see here. I always forget Amazon's ticker symbol for some stupid reason. Well, I take that back. I don't know what I was looking at. I could have swore that they were going down, but it looks like they're going down for the year, anyways. It looks like AMZN. I could have swore I seen on TV they were going down. Maybe it wasn't them. All right, so yeah, for the last year they've been going down a little bit, from like, you know, almost $700 down here to like, you know, they went down to like 400. So they did take a nice little hit this year. So I mean, that other stock actually looked pretty good though. But then again, you know, with these gap ups, just a matter of following it tomorrow, and it put in a red candle today. So let me just make sure that we'll go back 6 month here. Okay, yeah. So it put in a red candle today, and you know, whenever you want to get bullish on a stock, you know, it's best if the day before, you know, it puts in a green candle so that there might be some continuation into the next day, because this is just kind of, you know, it might do something like this where it went down again for another few days before it started coming back up. So I just be watching that one. So anything else? Any other stocks anyone wants to look at? Any other type of scans or anything? All right, well, if no one's got anything, I'd like to thank everyone that came out tonight. And just to remind everybody that, you know, this is an open environment, so please, you know, get yourself a microphone that plugs into the PC. I went out and got one on Amazon. It's like Bluetooth, and it came with a little Bluetooth thing to plug into the computer. It's like 40 bucks. And however good the quality of sound is, that's what you would sound like. It's the Logitech. I think I showed it last week. So, all right, well, that's it for this week. Once again, thanks for everybody that showed up, and we'll do it again soon. See you later.